Hey everybody, it's MDL Semifinals. This is LGD Gaming versus iG.Vitality for the China Qualifier. I'm Basekip. It's great to be joining you guys. And let's get into Game 2. iG.Vitality taking Game 1 in a cruise. It was just, they'd locked in cruise control and away they went. LGD put up a little bit of a fight towards the high ground. They got some nicely coordinated team fights. They had some crucial buybacks, but iG.Vitality just too far ahead, and I feel like LGD, they came into this game, they were very much picking to the pattern that they've been playing over the course of the last couple of days. iG.Vitality, having lost 2-0 to them in the Summit Qualifier, clearly did their research of the other games that they'd played, figured out that pattern, and figured out how exactly they wanted to deal with it. And this is still very much a big part of LGD's overall pattern, which is going for this this Warlock pick. They might be able to get their Troll Warlord in here as well. Again, their two predominant strategies have been the Jug Magnus and the Troll Warlord. So, kind of having to adjust in the previous game after a lot of that got banned out, so maybe they'll grab one of those two heroes, the Jug or the Troll here in the first phase. If they pick the Mag, then I feel like they're just going to end up getting both the Jug and the Troll banned out. iG.Vitality picking Lifestealer. Are they baiting the Troll pick a little bit? Is that what's happening here? Because Troll is certainly pretty good against Lifestealer, so I do find the Lifestealer pickup a little bit curious from iGV. Are they going to follow it up with the Slardar, I suppose, is the question on everybody's lips, but I don't know. This first pick for them, Lifestealer, is a bit weird. Certainly, a strong enough hero, but I feel like if you're picking it this early on, you're just begging for the enemy team to pick up plenty of answers to it. And iGV gonna go for a pretty wishy-washy follow-up as they grab the Crystal Maiden. Certainly a good hero overall, but doesn't really push their lineup in one direction or the other. The nice thing about having the Lifestealer, at least with the Crystal Maiden, is that Lifestealer is a strong, independent laner who don't need no support, so always helpful for the CM, because that means that she can feel confident to just go and jungle it up, be all the way over on the other side of the jungle, on the other side of the map, and knows that Lifestealer is not going to get completely demolished. I mean, of course, there are offlane heroes like a Legion, which could get picked up here or whatnot, that'll be able to put pressure on the Lifestealer, but LGD going to keep it pretty non-committal so far, as they just go for the Sand King. So it could end up being offlane Sand King, could be your position 4 Sand King. iG.Vitality are going to end up going for that Jug ban as LGD. I guess they probably ban out at least one Lifestealer vehicle that they're worried about. Could end up being a puck game for iG.Vitality, but maybe it's a little bit too early to ban that out because
10 seconds remaining.
They still have other options in terms of what they're going to be investing this Lifestealer into. But the puck just comes to mind because it seems like a good hero to scout the Warlock and the Sand King and then jump into the back lines, potentially bursting those guys down before they get their spells off. Though that is, of course, a little bit easier said than done. Slardar will be the ban, so that's the one thing for iG.Vitality, is that they kind of get a free ban by picking up the Lifestealer, and they will also be getting rid of the Troll Warlord. It really seems like iG.Vitality have their finger on the pulse from LGD, and they're gonna have to show us a slightly different strat this game. I still feel like something like the Terrorblade could be in their wheelhouse, but yeah, we'll have to see what carry they pick in the absence of the Jug and the Troll Warlord. Earth Spirit getting banned out. iG.Vitality have not grabbed their position 4 just yet. A lot of the good position 4s, almost all the good position 4s to go along with the Lifestealer have been banned out. Earth Spirit, Slardar, Riki, even the Nyx Assassin. So a lot of that work could be undone if iG.Vitality still find a position 4 hero that they're confident with. Maybe they take a page out of the book from the LFY team a little bit earlier when they ran Afu on the Disruptor as their position 4. It is a hero that can scale with a little bit of greed potential and is good against the Warlock and the Sand King if you can find them. Though not going to give them a potential infest bomb, which maybe they're they're a little bit worried about missing out on. This is where I will again be a proponent for the position for Clockwork, though I don't think too many other teams are on that hype train. So iG.Vitality just going to grab themselves an Omni. Alright, so they have a Repel and a Rage, so they are, you know, they're at least... I wonder why does the 6th pick always lag a little bit for me? Maybe it's just a timing thing. Anyway, so Ursa is the grab. Definitely a Diffusal Blade carrier against the Guardian Angel. The point that I was about to raise was about iG.Vitality being potentially a little bit weak to BKB piercing lockdown. I don't know what form that would take exactly for LGD. Maybe they could pick something like an Enigma for their offlane, would give them a little bit of push to supplement the Ursa, and would give them pretty nutty team fight. No real counterplay against an Enigma right now from iG.Vitality either. Other than that, what else? I still think the Terrorblade is pretty good here. iGV probably just going to grab their position. No, not their position 4. Actually, just grabbing up the SF. All right. So we got some Omni SF strats coming in. Going to give them some additional tower damage to follow up with the Lifestealer. Shadow Fiend, not really all that worried about being ganked heavily this game because there is the Warlock over on the other side, so iG.Vitality can be a little bit more greedy with their mid lane on the whole, which I think Shadow Fiend fits that nicely. LGD, what do they go for? The Templar Assassin's still in the pool. Could be alright, though I think Shadow Fiend actually deals with that lane decently well. Or it's not even about the lane, you know, Shadow Fiend's just going to go spam jungle creeps. It doesn't even really matter how he does in the lane so much. The one nice thing about iG.Vitality right now as well is that their jungle shouldn't be too crowded. I think the LGD jungle could actually afford to be a little bit more crowded. I hope that their mid lane is going to be able to utilize some jungle farm, because Ursa, not that amazing in farming the jungle. Sand King, you know, recent builds without the Sandstorm and whatnot, not really big on the jungle farm. So LGD will just grab the SF counter, quote unquote, in the Lina. Not gonna have a very fun time early on against the Repel and the Rage and whatnot, but can potentially buy an Aghanim Scepter to deal with that a little bit later on in the game, and does have some, you know, does have a leading stun with the Sand King, so if they get the Burrow onto the Lifestealer before he manages to get the Rage off, should be pretty easy follow up with the Light Strike Array, and then Lifestealer for how tanky he can feel in a fight while he's healing up with the open wounds and whatnot, and, you know, staying alive with the Rage. He is actually generally a pretty squishy hero. Doesn't really buy that much plus strength or anything like that, other than the armlet and maybe a little bit on his basher. Though the SNY has been a little bit more popular recently. That might only be a Monet thing on the on Team LFY. So Tide going to be banned by iGV. Kunkka being removed, as LGD just going to go for a Magnosaurus. Good against the Lifestealer, you know, not awful against the Shadow Fiend. There isn't a whole lot of scouting for him right now, so should be able to move around and get some decent RPs off. Going to speed up the farm speed of the Ursa pretty significantly, so that's going to help keep him relevant over the course of this game. And iG.Vitality, what is the final hero going to be? Batrider. Okay, so either a position for Omni Knight or a position for Batrider. What it is in July, playing the Bat. All right, so it is going to be pause 3 Bat, position for Omni. Looks like Omni Knight just going to be turned into a little bit of a repel bot this game. Does at least have the Crystal Maiden to do most of the supporting, and he's got the aura to be able to perhaps jungle up a little bit, though I think he might be pressuring the off lane initially with the Batrider just to try and keep the Sand King and the Warlock around there. What else is there to say? LGD's lineup is a little bit slow to start, especially with the Magnus, so that might give iG.Vitality an opportunity to move around I think the Batrider should probably beat out the Magnus in
5
terms of
seconds
Blink Dagger
remaining.
timing, so that of course depends on what items they're going for. You know, Batrider may be thinking that he wants the drum first, because there is some counter initiation from LGD here. You know, get a chaotic offering or something dropped on your head after you blink in is not so much fun. But LGD with a lot to prove. They beat these guys 2-0 last time, and they're already down 1 game here in this best of 3. So let's see if they can make the comeback and take us to a 3rd game. I have work tomorrow, but you know, who needs to sleep? There's interesting Dota to cast. So all right, let's get into it. We got the Storm Spirit. He's not in this game, but let's get into some introductions. We are gonna have dogfights on the Omni Knight. I believe this is okay. I'm gonna make sure that I don't mess any of these up this time around. Let's go. All right. So I'm looking at the wrong. Helps to look at the right teams. No, not more smokes. Don't do this to me, guys. Come on. Aggressive move forward. So this is maybe Escaper is Yao. 11 is of course 11. Aim is aim. And finally this guy is aggressive move up here, but they're not finding anybody. Quickly, base skip quickly. Too many tabs.
30 seconds to battle.
Yeah, I just gotta find their... Oop. I thought I was lagging, but everybody's just standing completely still. Alright, so that is the final player on LGD. That's Victoria. Then for iG.Vitality, it's Paparazzi.
The battle begins.
Sakata in July. Super is AAA and dogfights. Alright, sweet. I don't know if I'm going to remember that, but there you go. In terms of our early wards planted down, Dire getting some vision over the mid lane. Helps the Lina keep the pressure onto the Shadow Fiend. Also getting some vision up here on the high ground of what the Batrider is up to and whether or not the Omni Knight is here sitting behind him, which is helpful to know whether or not they can actually go for the Batrider kill, because you do need to be careful, right? You talk about like a level 2 purification in terms of a damage swing. That's 160 heal and 160 damage. And you're going on the Batrider and he's fireflying you and you've got the sticky stacks up and you're like, oh, it'll all be over soon. And then all of a sudden you get that big swing and he actually just finds a triple kill or something. So important to know what's going on. Ursa skilling up the Earthshock early on here, and tanking does actually have another burst strike in. Looking like Batrider could just be going down. In July does get healed up again, but they've got the Shadow Word and the auto attacks to draw the first blood. They do lose control of the lane a little bit, doubling up on the range creeps, so that's going to be helpful for the iGV side. But we'll see. Maybe they can get the side pull over or something here. Dogfight's hanging around just to try and aggro the creeps, I think. Or block this pull. Really wants to get these range creeps through to the tower, but nope. Not going to get given the opportunity. Ursa presses forward, boxes him out, and they will be able to get their pull through. So that's really nice. They're going to be able to deny these 2 range creeps, which is a lot of experience, and that would have been a pretty significant portion of the Batrider's level 2, but he's not going to get it. Omni Knight does manage to leech a bit of experience off the pull, but it's only one of the little hill trolls, so not really all that much. Alright, so 11, knowing that the Omni Knight is all the way over at top lane, has been able to pressure bottom a little bit more. Is getting harassed out here by Paparazzi, but it's a big skewer back into the tower. That's going to be 3 or 4 tower shots. Paparazzi does have a salve to heal back up, but he's going to have to back away for a second to sup on that one. Lina just going for the double null talisman early on here. Has picked up a fairly early point in the Light Strike array, which is maybe a little bit out of the ordinary, as they are hunting for dogfights over here in the trees. Batrider looking like he's a little bit more interested in jungling for the time being, so they've already given up on the idea of pressuring this offlane. Dogfight's going to be trying for the TP back to his tier 1, and he does get it. Sand King couldn't quite get around the corner to scout him in time, so... Meanwhile, over at the mid lane, Shadow Fiend 8-1 versus the 16-4 of the Lina. Crystal Maiden running away from a hasted old 11 who is going to be able to pick up that kill. And LGD, alright, wasn't a great start to game 1, but looking good now. Dogfight's putting some pressure onto the Sand King, but needs to be careful himself. The Ursa has actually chopped his way through the trees, and he's now running in with some boots. They've managed to slow down Dogfights. They've also got the Orb of Venom. I don't know how he's going to be able to escape. He puts down the heal, but the pursuit continues, and one last touch from the Ursa will do it. Batrider did manage to get up a couple of sticky stacks there, but on half HP, not at all keen to try and make any kind of moves. And actually might just die. Gets hit by the Burrow Strike, couple of auto attacks. Shadow Word, ooh, cast animation just a little bit too long from the Warlock. Looks like did get fogged as the Batrider made his way over the trees. Won't be able to go and use the Shrine right away. Sand King gonna push him all the way back, as he does have some stick charges ready for one last Burrow Strike. And the Sand King actually having way more Burrow Strikes than usual, just courtesy of that sticky Napalm spam. You know, his mana pool is normally only 2 Burrow Strikes in the early game, but it's like 3 or 4 so far from the SK. I didn't catch if he had a Clarity as well, but picking this up has definitely paid dividends. And alright. 2-man smoke from the Omni-Knight and the Crystal Maiden. CM's only got a Frostbite to work with. SF is going to have his level 5 in a little bit, but actually looks like the Sand King has just completely scouted this gank. Really great play from him, going to Burst Strike his way up onto the high ground as well, and he's out of there. He's way too fast with Boots of Speed and Windlace for them to catch. So, completely wasted smoke, completely wasted time. The Crystal Maiden could have been over here farming the big camp or something in the interim, so definitely not happy with how that played out. And Lina gonna thank her support for keeping her safe here on mid. Does eat a double raise to the face, so getting knocked down a little bit. Has picked up the Raindrop as well. Has her Shrine ready to go, so we'll be able to go and use that, and is ahead of the Shadow Fiend in that regard, since he's already used his Shrine. Neither mid laner going for a bottle just yet. This has been an interesting trend in terms of mid lane dynamics. I guess it's just it's an extension of people valuing the Shrine a little bit more. You know, if you buy more stats, your Shrine is just that little bit more effective because you can stretch the health and the mana even further. Shadow Fiend, of course, does have the Arcane Aura here, and some people have even been going without bottle on Shadow Fiend recently, just relying on Clarity spam to get them through the jungle. So it's been interesting to see. Lina, what's she going for here? Alright, well, AIM just going to be picking up, working towards a Vlad's at the moment. It looks like he is kind of committing since he's got the Ring of Protection coming out. And he's got the Headdress recipe. So it looks like Vlad's is the plan. Burrow Strike on the Batrider. He's been pressuring up top really, I don't know, really aggressively. And he gets brought down. Only 12 CS to his name. How's he doing in terms of levels compared to the Magnus? He's 2 levels behind. That's not good news. I called out that the Batrider was going to get his Blink Dagger a little bit earlier than the Mag, but looking like it might not be the case so far, as he's actually almost getting doubled up in terms of net worth. DD Rune waiting for the Lina up top. What's she going to do here? Looking to run up for a kill. Sand King could take over the mid lane for a little bit, but it looks like they actually just want to take the DD, get this kill, and then maybe try and put some damage onto the tier 1 tower. They're charging forward in July. Is he going to get hit by the random light strike array? Will not get caught, but they're still doing good damage on Laguna Blade. Pops him from half HP. The support's not even needing to get involved there. At least he did manage to pull the creep wave back, but we'll maybe just choose to stick around. Lifestealer farming away at bottom, but Paparazzi is rushing a Midas. Already has a completed sub 7 minutes, so I think that's going to be... shouldn't be too much of a difficulty for him. You know, he'll still be ready to fight when his team needs him. But they do give up on this tier 1 tower push up top and head back in to defend the mid lanes. And Shadow Fiend actually got way more damage on the tier 1 mid than they did over at the tier 1 safe lane. So worthwhile rotation maybe for the kill, but the double damage actually kind of baiting him into sticking around a little bit longer and trying to damage the tower. Meanwhile, SF going to work, spamming those raises, popping those clarities. Sand King has his Tranquil Boots up now, looking for some pressure down bot. Lifestealer has already used the Infest and taking some additional damage. Does have 3 points up in the Feast now to try and keep himself sustained. Might just ferry out some additional tangos. There is 1 tango over here on the CM, so maybe he can ask nicely and he'll get that. Magnus, level 6. has opted to skip the RP for now. 3-point Shockwave, 2 points in power, and 1 point up in the Skewer. They're rotating with the Ursa, but I feel like this rotation is not going to work nearly as well without the RP to set it up. He does have the Infest ready to go as well. Pops the Rage, running away from the Creep Wave, however, going to go for the TP out. Can they just chop him down? Looks like they will. They've got the Overpower. They got the Enrage, sorry, and Aim finishes him off. Nice precast on the Overpower, it looks like. Had the Overpower as he came in, got some immediate stacks, got the second cast off, and brought down the Lifestealer. If he hadn't done that, I don't think they would have gotten that kill. So nicely done by LGD. They're going to bring all 3 cores over towards the bottom lane to look for this tier 1 towers. They will just send the Warlock over towards mid to defend, but Shadow Fiend's got a haste, and he's diving in, going to look for the triple raise. Manages to land 2, but looks like Warlock's still going to be alright. Shadow Fiend has an easy escape route, and even going to rendezvous with his team. They did also TP in the Sand King, but the 3 cores continuing to try and finish off this tier 1 tower. Who's going to take the last hit? It looks like it will be the Lina, and that is going to be some more Bloodstone progress for her. Completely bypassing the bottle this game, just picking up the Arcane Boots and the Soul Ring for now. Lifestealer after that death, just going to head back into the jungle. Looks like he's got his Phase Boots on the Courier. Magnus going to be pretty... I think this is a really smart rotation from LGD to come and take this bottom tier 1, because now it basically gives the Magnus these 2 camps while taking them away from the Crystal Maiden and the Lifestealer. So all they really need now is a ward somewhere in this area. You know, this ward's good. This ward's not bad either. Could even get something around here. This one probably gets dewarded, but you know, just give the mag a little bit of vision on those cross rotations, and he can just keep farming down here. They are also keeping the Ursa down here at the moment. He's got the Vlad, so at least has some semblance of tower threat if he stays in here. But they're just looking for the RP Skewer back into Ursa eating Paparazzi's face off, which is what 11 is threatening for. But Ursa now charging forward, and Paparazzi, actually, they're looking towards the Shadow Fiend, who's come in here to scout things out a little bit. Needs to be careful not to get slowed down. There is a lasso ready to go for the Bat Rider. Gonna bounce him back into it. They've also got the open wounds. He turns around with the Enrage, just throwing out some auto attacks. Magnus in a little bit of trouble, is already slowed down by the Sticky, so difficult to get the turn RP, but
this'll come in handy.
Looks like with just the 2 cores there, they will actually be able to drive back all of iG.Vitality. I'm surprised they didn't go for that kill. I guess he oomed himself before he could use the lasso. Yeah, I guess the Flame Break actually oomed him. Didn't even realize, but there you go. He's got plenty of mana regen, but not enough of a mana pool. And oh my god, they found an Invis Rune on the Magnus. Gonna set up the Chainstone on the Lifestealer. Do they have enough burst damage to kill him? They're gonna skewer him away from the creep so that he can't infest and heal himself back up. Nicely played there by 11. And alright, LG, they lost to that. Well, they didn't even lose to the Anti-Mage pick in game 1. They just lost to getting outplayed in the early game, but they're the ones winning the early game this time around. 3.4k their lead. I mean, Shadow Fiend and the Lifestealer still farming alright, but Bat Rider struggling to put anything together. Is just working at a drum right now. 1600 gold's not a terrible situation for him to be in, but still lagging behind the Magnus a little bit, as we do have a bit of a power gap in between the Bat Rider and the Mag in terms of the net worth. Can they get this deny successfully? Don't let that catapult get one last hit off. And alright, just going to leave the tier 1 tower here just in case he gets jumped on. Magnus with the Skewer away into the TP out. Frostbite almost in range for the Crystal Maiden, but won't be able to get it. And now, having scouted some heroes over in the Radiant Jungle and having their Vlads online, LGD make their way into the Roshan pit. Ursa working on his blink. Bat Rider suspicious of what's going on here. Is going to scout it out. Another Radiant team coming over. Dogfight's going to get jumped. They drop the Chaotic Offering on him. Bat Rider also losing some life. Dogfight's popping his ultimate, but still going to end up dropping as Shadow Fiend, curious as to whether or not they can still contest this. Pokes his head forward. Burst Strike not going to end up catching. Maybe just sitting inside the pit right now. Gonna look for the stun. Doesn't manage to catch. They do have vision up here on the high ground, scouting out this entire situation. But looks like with the sticky stacks, they are just gonna back up into the jungle and take some farm instead. Nobody really farming down bot for the Radiant, so they're not going to be building up much of a net worth advantage, or not dragging this net worth advantage back in the meantime, since it looks like they're so worried about the Rosh. And we do have a blink up for 11. They have scouted this with the Observer Ward. He's coming forward. Paparazzi just waiting over in the trees. And they will be able to get a couple of nukes over on the mag. They skewer back the Lifestealer. Can they get the chain stun? He manages to get off the rage, but Ursa doesn't care about it. He's going to pop the Enrage and just go to work. Shadow Fiend repelled for a couple of seconds, but not too much longer as Crystal Maiden gets stunned in the middle of the upheaval and just Laguna Bladed right in the face. Shadow Fiend is so damn slow. The Batrider going to do his best to keep the SF alive, but that is going to be 3 kills for LGD. They take down the position 1, the position 2, and the poor old position 5. And they will just be able to go and shrine themselves back up to maybe prime for that Roshan, though. They could also just wait until they have a Chaotic Offering back up. 11-0 their lead right now. Not as much net worth, I think, as iGV had at this point in the previous game, but Sand King, 1,800 gold towards his Blink. The net worth that they do have is impactful net worth. I mean, even Warlock with the Medallion up going to be helpful. Ursa also working towards his Blink. Lena probably has the Bloodstone in a couple of seconds. Still a little bit to farm, in fact. But only a very little bit. Another 250 gold. Big smoke from iGV. They do have their Blink Dagger up on the Batrider. Decided not to go for the drum at the end of the day. Are they just going to take the Warlock kill? He's the only one really showing in lanes right now. Everybody else is backed themselves up a long way. And, alright. Shadow Fiend does end up taking out the tier 1 tower on mid. They wasted their glyph, but because of the way that the glyph mechanics work now, they still have it back up anyway. Shadow Fiend double damage ready, is rushing the Shadow Blade. That's a little bit out of the ordinary. I feel like people have been going for the Dragonlance rush a little bit more recently, but planning that he might be able to split push. He is the primary split pusher, I guess, in some ways for his team, though Lifestealer, even without a blink or anything like that, is a pretty nasty split pusher in his own right, able to push up very far. Though this game there are multiple ways to cancel a rage TP, so maybe that falls to the Shadow Fiend a little bit more. And nope, alright, he's... Oh no, the Shadow Fiend, Shadow Blade coming out, going to be going for the BKB next here. Meanwhile, looks like maybe just a tier 1 for a tier 1 tower trade coming up. Not investing the double damage just yet for this, going to rely on his natural damage to finish it off. Chaotic Offering ready to go. What's the vision situation over here at the mid lane? They do have nice warding over on the shrine, nice warding back behind the tower, so LGD very much set up for this. However, maybe he was just around the corner. He's got the Bloodstone up, might be able to get the suicide off, and he will be able to. Double damage. Shadow Fiend scooting his way in, and Magnus needing to be careful. The Ursa is chasing forward. Paparazzi tries for the RP, but gets juked out as the Requiem actually getting cast on the back lines. Not killing off anyone just yet. The Chaotic Offering going to get dropped on his head. Now the RP. Ursa coming in. Only a couple of auto attacks to finish him, and now dogfights. Running in, getting kited somewhat. Pops the Enrage. Lifestealer with the Rage himself, but Batrider just forced to blink himself away. They lost the Lena, but they still take the fight. And we'll be able to take the tier 1 tower as the follow-up. With all of their ultimates on cooldown, probably can't get the Roche. Or maybe they go for it? I don't know. We'll see. Alright, AIM wants it. They got the Medallion. That's going to speed it up that little bit more. They've got the Maxim Power. That's also going to speed it up. Crystal Maiden going to come over here. Doesn't have the freezing field available. Just going to throw 1 Crystal Nova for some scouting. And it looks like LGD going to lose their nerve. They do have the Warlock Golem scouting at the Batrider and canceling his Blink Dagger all the while. Nice little bit of play there. Nope. Fake back. Here we go. Sand King also has his Blink. Jump in. Double Blink. Lifestealer, can he infest anything? He will not be able to. Gets completely devoured by the Ursa. LGD. Great little tactical play there. That's going to secure them their... Oh, is it going to secure them their Roche? Man, they are very hesitant about this whole situation. Now they got the Burrow up onto the high ground. Batrider sitting on top of this vision the entire time. We'll get Laguna Bladed. Crystal Maiden trying to make her escape. Still 3 seconds to go on the Burrow, but I don't even know if they need that. And Batrider going to regret not denying this tower a little bit earlier. Ursa maybe finishes it first, then goes on for the Crystal Maiden. Blinking in. Blinking behind the tier 2 tower is the Sand King. They've got the follow-up stun on the Omni Knight. He's got the Guardian Angel. He's got the wand charges, but doesn't have any way to deal with the Caustic Finale, so he's gone. And LGD, what a steamrolling this game has turned into. 17-0. 8.7k net worth advantage. The net worth isn't even all that crazy, but this lifestealer is starting to feel like the Hand of Midas was maybe not the best decision. Shadow Fiend, hoping that somebody was going to run into his Requiem right as the Shadow Blade ran out, but LGD playing it safe, playing with their cards close to their chest, just going to back themselves up for now. Who's got current gold? That's probably the biggest indicator of what they're waiting for. Ursa is going to be going for the Desolator. I think it's pretty easy to tell when Ursa's going to go for Deso since he just gets the Vlads, so it helps to supplement their lack of building damage this game by buffing up his team and then giving the towers the minus armor. It's just certainly nice. So it looks like that's probably what they're waiting for because everybody else has kind of got nothing to spend right now. Lena's going to be going for a Shadow Blade up next, but she just bought her Boots of Travel, it looks like. Yep, they're coming out on the Courier. And alright, Mag just limbering up, you know, gotta keep that RP primed and ready. Show that you are in ultimate control. Be very embarrassing if he wasted it now, but this is the life of a Magnus player. Alright. LGD, looks like they have their sights set on this bottom tier 2. They are going to let their top lane get pushed out pretty significantly. So maybe iGV can try and find some kind of a trade. This first kill that they find, pretty much no matter who it's on, it's going to be quite a bit of gold handed over. But Batrider's still not really able to find anyone successfully with the lasso, other than the Lina, who obviously denied herself. And Radiant team coming in here, putting down some sentries, but not finding any observers. That's the tier 2 dead, and LGD making fast progress towards the high ground. Time for a quick TP check. Crystal Maiden already TPing back. Omni doesn't have one. Batrider's already here laying down the Firefly, but Ursa just going to go jumping in. Sand King also blink, look for the Burrow Strike, but not going to find it. Warlock, 4 points up in the upheaval, just going to keep everybody back, and we'll be able to heal up this Ursa just that little bit more as well. Very difficult for the Batrider to jump in and initiate against the Chaotic Offering, so initiation for iGV pretty much non-existent. Maybe Shadow Fiend can run up and drop a Requiem on somebody. They will be able to go in. They've got the Repel, but now the Chaotic Offering getting dropped off onto 2, and AIM once again finding his target. It's the Lifestealer. They are kiting the Ursa around a bit, but he pops the Enrage. They get the Burrow. They've got the Laguna, and one more hit's going to do it. Lifestealer now down for 45 seconds. They still have the RP available. They jump in with the Bat. They do manage to pop the Aegis, but the upheaval once again is proving to be way too strong. They can't escape. Sand King will jump in with the Burrow Strike. He pays for that with his life, but now the RP drops onto 2 Freezing Field. Gonna try and push them back as they don't have any detection for the Shadow Fiend. Managing to get into his Shadow Blade right at the last moment, and will end up surviving as a result. They don't manage to get the tier 3, so the Shrines will remain unexposed, and Omni Knight buyback sends them packing, but even being down 12k net worth, they're still not going to find a positive change in terms of the gold. The only person benefiting overall being the, well, benefiting significantly overall being the Crystal Maiden. That's only 150, so things looking rough for iGV. LGD maybe getting a little bit ahead of themselves going for the high ground, but they just wanted to force them back, and then they saw an opportunity after that. Alright, Lina found out once again, but quick Bloodstone deny, and she's going to be back up in 10 seconds time. This poor old Bat just not finding the best kills. Lena's going to be going for a Lincoln Sphere to help prevent that in the future. And LGD just waiting around for now. The dream is alive if iGV can get another 3 kills, but I don't know if that's going to happen before LGD rack another one up on the scoreboard. Sand King comes in here. Has he scouted the Shadow Fiend just yet? Looks like maybe not. Gonna plant down a little Observer Ward off to the side, and what is Ursa farming his way towards? BKB? Nope, is just gonna be farming towards the Aghanim Scepter. Certainly, as we've seen, the Enrage is very, very valuable this game, so gonna make it even better. Shadow Fiend just going for a Butterfly. Haste on the Ursa. Paparazzi, this poor guy cannot catch a break. Doesn't have the Solar Crest just yet, but I think even if it had it, still would have been chewed up and spit out straight back to the fountain. Tier 2 looking like it's going to be brought down next. There is a glyph available. Maybe they can find it. Oh, no, they can't find it. A Tier 1 trade. That's just a poor old Crystal Maiden down here at bottom. I thought it was maybe a slightly more impactful hero. She doesn't even have her 60 damage. In no way is she ready to push this Tier 1 tower. Alright. They did pop the glyph for the Tier 2. The Chaotic Offering's back up, so I get the feeling that LGD going to be looking for a team fight. Shadow Fiend running forward, confident that there aren't any sentries down on the LGD side, and he would be right. Magnus finding time to go back for a Midas at some point. I wasn't even really paying attention to his item progression. No gem picked up just yet from LGD. I guess they don't want to. They don't want to risk it right now. They do have two heroes that are really relying on Invis somewhat, so maybe they'll pick it up after the next Aegis. Roshan only a minute and a half away. Dogfights finally finding the third point up in the repel, but how much that exactly is going to help against the Ursa remains a pretty big question mark for their team. Ursa does not have a Diffusal Blade, so the Guardian Angel is certainly going to be helpful, but only level 9 for now. Alright. Gonna smoke themselves up on top of their sentry. Confident that there wasn't any vision. The Shadow Fiend's gonna lead the way here. Can they find an important backline target? The Lina actually sticking around in the front lines right now as LGD gonna back up and hold a high ground where they have some vision. Very nice map positioning from them. Like, the fact that they leave this tier 2 tower on 250 hit points because they sense that something just isn't right, and now they jump in, they get the burrow onto the Shadow Fiend. Nice reaction from Dogfights. Does come in with the repel, but SF already taking some pretty big damage, and Ursa with the Aghanim Scepter feeling very confident in his ability to just charge forward. SF Shadowblade gonna wear off in just a second, and alright, they do come back and finish off this tier 2. That's gonna be the last remaining outer tower. Catapult, can you please cooperate and come over here and disable the backdoor protection? Alright. Tower down. We're gonna find out when Roshan respawns in about 10 seconds time. They will pick up that gem now, so preparing themselves for this fight around the pit. They've even got some vision up here on the high ground, which went did not get dewarded by the Radiant team, a little bit surprisingly. I don't know, did Warlock sneak over and plant that? Maybe the Sand King? Speaking of Sand King, I mean, I guess he was going for a 4-staff, but decides that the gem is more important. Warlock now has his Solar Crest. In just a second, Batrider jumping for a kill. They're looking for the Lina. They do have the lasso, doing pretty good damage, but the RP is the turnaround. Lina still waiting on her spells to come off cooldown. Didn't have the stun to follow it up, but Paparazzi doesn't have the rage anymore. And now he's going to get chain stunned into oblivion. Maybe surviving through it all. 1-2-3. 23-1 the score. And LGD, do they even need the Roche? It's going to be back up in another couple of seconds time. Magnus has bought himself a Yule Scepter as the remaining heroes from iG.Vitality will take this bottom tier 1 tower at long last, but LGD straight up onto the high ground. They're fishing for this Lifestealer buyback. He doesn't have it. Only down for another 20 seconds, but they would love this tier 3 to pave the way to the shrines. Looks like they're going to just leave maybe to finish it off. And as that last auto attack flies through, they will be able to come and take this shrine now. Magnus waiting on the RP cooldown, so I guess not really that keen to take a full-on fight at the moment. So yeah, shrine down. Roshan gonna get scouted by the courier, so they know that it's up. Ursa probably gonna blink straight in there because they've got some amazing vision down. I really like this ward placement because most of the time people are gonna come and try and deward this line, but you can't actually get this high ground spot and this observer spot in the same sentry. And there's no giveaway that it's here because, you know, it's not blocking the camp or anything like that. But Crystal Maiden, she's a smart cookie. She finds it out anyway. It was just about to fade. This ward, nice and fresh. As LGD just continue waiting around for their RP. Only another 20 seconds to go. Ursa's going to be going for an Orchid here, interestingly enough. I'm a little bit surprised.